This video is sponsored by Radiant Imaging Labs. So these are two very different cameras with two very different use cases, but I've been getting a ton of questions about them both and people wanting a comparison. And well, they're my two favourite cameras, so any excuse to talk about them. Let's compare the OM System OM-3 and the Lumix L10 and which might be right for you. Or in my case, just pick both because they're both amazing. Let's get stuck in. I like to think of these two cameras as open and closed. With the Lumix L10, you have a luxury grab-and-go premium compact. And you don't need to buy anything else, although the leather case is probably worth the money. I think it's gorgeous. The lens is very versatile. You have everything you need. Maybe buy a mist filter if you're feeling fancy, but otherwise it's closed. This is what you get. You can't expand upon it. This is your lot. Whereas with the OM-3 and interchangeable lens cameras in general, it's a lot more open. This is my grab and go sort of setup at the moment. I have the 17mm f1.8 lens on here, and I do think in silver it looks gorgeous with the OM-3. So you can have this as a grab and go camera. You could put your favorite prime lens on or your favorite zoom lens on, and then you've got everything that you need. Buy a cute case for it, and off you go. But the difference with the OM-3 is you can change the lens, man. You could put a zoom lens on this and take it to your local safari park and get wildlife photography. You could put a wide angle lens on it and go do astrophotography. You could take it out in the rain and the snow and take photographs of huskies. Because it is weather sealed, this can be a brilliant holiday camera. It could be a brilliant action camera or wildlife camera, but all of these things are with the right lens. And this is why open is good, because you get to expand on your photography equipment, but open is sometimes overwhelming and a lot more expensive and a little bit of a rabbit hole. Think of all the rabbit holes we've gone down just with camera bodies. Now multiply that with lenses, and it can be very overwhelming if this is your first camera purchase. So both have the pros and cons. And while on paper, they're both very versatile in terms of burst modes. For example, the L10 has the GH7 sensor in it, so you have access to all of these fast burst modes, but then you've only got up to a 75mm lens on it, so it's quite limited to what you could use those burst modes for. Taking photographs of your kid on a scooter? Yes. Taking photographs of puffins in flight? Probably not. Whereas with the OM-3, you have a stacked sensor, you have excellent subject detection, they're both good in that regard, but you could choose the right lens for the right job and it would work a lot better for you. Very different use cases, very different cameras, despite them having just about the same size sensor. One thing I want to point out with the L10 though, is the size of this lens is incredible. So this is an f1.7 to f2.8, 24 to 75 equivalent, and it's that big. Right? It's tiny. And there isn't actually an equivalent in MicroFourNerds. There's two that kind of sort of get you there, and that's this one, the Lumix Leica 12 to 60. And even then, that's only 2.8 at the wide end and f4 at the long. Or something like the OM System 12 to 45 f4 Pro. And as you can see, significantly bigger and less bright and less versatile with less zoomage with less zoom coverage. So even though there's been a lot of talk about the L10 being too big and, not in the spirit of the system, when you consider how much ground the lens covers and the aperture it allows you to shoot at and the size of it, it's an excellent compact package. And this is what I mean about it being all that you need. Getting that versatility in such a small lens is really impressive, because to get the equivalent on MicroFourNerds, you'd be carrying a prime and a zoom and a load of bits and bobs. Video-wise, the L10 is superior to the OM-3 in all ways except one, and it's quite a big one. The OM-3 has incredible in-body stabilization and the L10 doesn't. In photography, I've got 7 seconds handheld and beyond with the OM-3, whereas with the L10, you just have stabilization in the lens. It's perfectly fine for if you're behind the camera and you just want to get a little bit of clips here and there. I've done that loads. But if you want to talk to camera handheld, it's very wobbly on the L10. Whereas with the OM-3, get a wide angle lens and the IBIS will do you proud.
They're going to be going off here. And that building there might be a really nice bit of like foreground interest. Hopefully the fireworks get high enough.
But spec-wise, slow motion is much better on the L10, having open gate on the L10, and I much prefer the Lumix Vlog profile over the OM system one, but you can get good results from both. But the biggest thing that does let the L10 down is the IBIS, particularly when you consider that most Panasonic cameras and most OM system or Olympus cameras, the main thing about the system is the stabilization is amazing and the lenses are small. Without that key component, it is quite frustrating. With photography, the lens stabilization will get you far and wide, it's no problem, but I do miss it on the video side.
Okay, so maybe the stabilization isn't quite good enough for vlogging. Who knows? Maybe I'm just a bouncy walker.
Whereas with the OM-3, it's superb for both. But it wouldn't be an L10 video if I didn't point out that the L10 isn't really meant for vlogging or video-centric things in general. It is a photo-centric camera, and you just get this as a bonus because Lumix are showing off at this point. So I can't really criticize a camera for something it's not intended for. Whereas the OM-3, genuinely, it could get a bit of a bump in the video department. It could be a perfect hybrid camera if it just had a few more bells and whistles on the video side, though the 10-bit video coming out of it is nice enough. I've got plenty of good stuff with it in my time. Now I'm continuing my quest for Lightroom alternatives, and the kind sponsor of this week's video is Radiant Imaging Labs, and their software, Radiant Photo 2, is very interesting indeed. Now I don't usually share like the behind the scenes of these things, but in the correspondence with this lovely company, they said they wanted to make two things completely clear to my audience. Radiant doesn't use generative AI or invent or add anything to any photo. It corrects your image, but it never fabricates. And I think that is such an important distinction because I feel very icky in general about certain parts of AI. And the second thing is it's a one-time purchase and not a subscription. Radiant Photo 2 is the simplest photo editing software I've ever used. You just put in your photo and then let the software work its magic. There's a number of presets that you can choose from, but honestly, it does a great job with one click. So if you're looking for something to save some time, to make some quick edits, this is a really strong option. And there's an exclusive discount for my audience if you use the link in the description. Now, build quality. I've gotten quite a few online arguments about the L10, primarily with people that have never even been in the same blooming room as one, such is the way with the internet, where people take one look at it and think that it's the same as the S9, and it is absolutely not. It's got a metal top, I believe, magnesium alloy maybe, someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, and it's not plastic fantastic like the S9 unfortunately is. This is a huge step up from the S9 in terms of build quality. However, the OM-3, I just think it's, you know, tangibly metal. I think the dials and buttons are very nice and very robust. The only thing that feels a little bit flimsy on the OM-3 is the on and off button, but I don't use that anyway because I've assigned the on and off button to the one at the back. And I think the doors are a little bit flimsy on the OM-3, and maybe the eyepiece. In general, it's built like a little tank. It's very filmic, and I think it's very premium indeed. And because it is weather sealed, you do know that on top of it being built well, it is very robust in all of the circumstances, whereas the L10, if it starts to rain, you're going to have to put it away. So what are the best use cases for the Lumix L10? So one of the ideal days I had with it was when I went to a festival in Tokyo, and having the zoom lens and the crop zoom feature meant that I could get lots of picked out pieces of the action, but also had the versatility of using it as like an everyday carry and getting day-to-day stuff as well, and video clips. And I got this cracking bit of like this gorgeous dog in slow motion, which was just iconic. And I just think like having a one and done camera like that, where you can get all that footage with one camera without ever having to think about changing a lens, you know, just keeping it on a strap over my shoulder, grab and go, wonderful. And then the straight out of camera JPEGs are obviously amazing because you do have real-time LUT as well. The other ideal use case I've used for the L10 is when I recently moved house and I didn't have a computer, nor the brain, nor the energy to even contemplate editing photos, but I also wanted to document the experience. So some of that happened on a really old camcorder. We just got the mortgage offer Friday afternoon. Anxiety drop, got sweaty pits, I had to turn the heating off. I can't believe this might actually be happening. This is going to be my office. I just need to paint it and put some panels up because, whoa, it's echoey in here. And some of that happened on the L10. The photographs, I had my own preset built into the camera. I knew that I could just pop them online or even just save them for my own memories without having to ever bother editing them. So I think the use case for if you have a busy life or you don't have time to edit, perhaps you have a young family that you want to document or something, then real-time LUT and the simplicity of the L10 really, really shines. On the OM-3 side, you do have custom JPEGs to a degree, but it's nowhere near as customizable. If you do like monochrome though, the monochrome in the OM-3 is stunning, but color-wise, you're a bit more limited. You could dial something in and find something that you like, but you've got a lot less options on the OM-3 versus the L10. Both of those scenarios, you could absolutely do the same with the OM-3. You could grab and go, and what's that? 45. So that's 90 mil. So you've got about the same zoom with this setup, but having this on a camera strap is a lot more top heavy, and yes, it's weather sealed, but it's a bit slower. It's nowhere near as simple as just grabbing this and you're done. Similarly with the house move, I didn't opt for the OM-3 because I prefer the JPEGs out of the L10. It's as simple as that. I could have put a prime on the OM-3 and got just as nice photos, but the straight out of camera JPEGs is sometimes worth its weight in gold. But there's pros to the OM-3, buckets of them. Weather sealing I keep coming back to. One of my favourite things to do in the city, and it's good really because I live in the UK and it rains a lot. I love photographing in the rain or just after the rain. I think the reflections you can get off the concrete is amazing with the lights from the building. And I think learning to photograph rain and get the streaks correctly can look really striking. And you can't do that with the L10. It would be atrocious and I would cry because it would break. With the OM-3, I've been in snow, I've been in rain, I've been in waterfalls, it doesn't matter. It's really, really robust in that respect. One thing to compare is if you're an EVF fan, the L10 EVF is that little bit better. They both have 2.36 million dots and they're both OLED. But the thing about EVFs is magnification. So the closer to 1 the magnification is the closest to how you see it with your own eye. So the L10 is a 0.74 times magnification versus 0.69 magnification on the OM-3. It's a small thing, but looking through the both of them, the L10 does appear bigger and more immersive. Now, if you really cared about EVFs, you'd look at the OM-1 Mark II, which has like 6 million dots of resolution and 0.83 magnification, so even more immersive and even bigger again to your eye. So EVF, neither of them are flagship, but the L10 definitely has the edge. And one random thing about the OM-3 that's always done my head in is if you are in rain or snow, the way that the eyepiece is designed is the rain will go over the sensor and turn the back screen off, and it's so annoying. But then you'd never have that problem in the L10 because you could never take it out in the rain. So pros and cons. What do both cameras do well? Both cameras can be operated single-handedly with a little bit of customization on the OM-3 to make the on button on that side. Both cameras have a photo and video switch, which I adore. It makes getting little video clips throughout your day really seamless without having to change 100 settings. You can just press one button and it's done. Love, love, love. Both cameras are stylish in my opinion, particularly with the little leather cases on. I think they're both gorgeous and I'm happy to have them both out. You know, if I go out for a meal or whatever, I'll wear it like a handbag. It might be a small thing, but you know, you don't want an ugly camera, do you? That's why I don't collect Sonys. So the burning question, I'm sure you can feel me tiptoeing around, is which one do I like best? And honestly, ask me on any given day. Ask me for any given circumstance and I'll tell you. I think objectively, absolutely in terms of just what it's capable of and the images that I've got from it, the OM-3 is much more versatile and much more up my alley because I am very much a dabbler in photography. I like a bit of wildlife, I like a bit of landscape, I like a bit of festivals in Europe, I like a bit of everyday carry, and the OM-3 is robust enough and versatile enough to do all of that and more. The L10 is fun for everyday carry, wonderful for documenting your life and your day-to-day activities, wonderful for a travel holiday provided it's not raining or snowing, but then beyond that, you are limited. If this was someone's first ever camera, I would probably urge them to go for the OM-3 because then you can grow into it as you decide what kind of photography you enjoy. Unfortunately, if you got the L10, you might think, I'm shooting at 75mm all the time. I wish I had a 200mm lens. You're out of luck. You've got a fixed lens, there's nothing you can do. Whereas with the OM-3, you could just buy the next lens in that direction and then you could carry on and evolve as a photographer. But if you already have a system, be that L-mount or MicroFourNerds or Sony or whatever it is you want to shoot, and you do just want a grab and go one and done camera, I think the L10 really is a luxury second camera sort of purchase. I've been thinking about this a lot since it came out, and I don't know if it's ideal as a first camera, like I've just said, you know, it'll take you so far, but then what? You're already a grand and a bit in the hole. Whereas with MicroFourNerds, for example, you can grow. So if you want something that's just grab and go and simple and fun, and maybe it gets you creative again, you could go for the L10. But also you could go for 101 different fixed lens cameras that are a lot cheaper. It really is whether what it has in it appeals to you. And those things for me are the versatile, wonderful lens, the style, the really good video features, like I love being able to shoot open gate at the drop of a hat. It's so good. Most importantly for me personally, real-time LUT. Any camera that is in is a favourite of mine, and I just wish it was in an interchangeable lens MicroFourNerds camera. Then I could pack up shop and I'm done. I'm a happy lady. It's the best way ever to experience straight out of camera JPEGs, and the L10 is wonderful for that. So if that appeals to you, it's great. What about the cash? Let me have a look. I had a look and got some prices together. This is subject for today, and today only. These things are so subject to change, but just to give you an idea. If you wanted to sort of cover the ground that the L10 covers, which is a really fast sort of prime-like setup because it goes to 1.7, plus a really versatile zoom, I actually think you would need two lenses on the OM-3 in order to be competitive with the L10. And the two that I would choose is a 17mm 1.8 as my prime lens of choice, and then the 12 to 45 f4, the chunky boy. This is also fully certified weather sealed, so it's a great combination. And if you get the OM system updated version of this, that's certified as splash proof, so I'd probably get that one. It's just that this was near me and it's silver and I like it. The OM-3 new with the 12 to 45 f4 is 1,900 King's English pounds, which is a lot of money. On the used market, in excellent condition, you can get the OM-3, the 12 to 45 f4, and the OM System 17mm lens for £1,800, which is sounding a lot better. This is why I like buying used. The L10 has come down a bit since the launch, actually. It's quite impressive. So you can get the black and silver one for £1,299 or £1,399 new for the titanium gold colour. So that's £400 difference. That's how bad I am at maths. It's been a long day. So for £400 difference on the used market, you could get an OM-3 with two lenses. Whichever of those setups sounds like better value to you really depends on what you're looking for out of your camera, doesn't it? For me, the OM-3 sounds really good value for money because two lenses, you've covered a lot of ground, it's all weather sealed, it's all good stuff, and you can grow into the system. The L10, luxury purchase. Love it, love it, love it. Prize it from my cold dead hands. I genuinely love it. But in terms of pure value, which is more camera? And which would you say in the comments? Let me know. I'm not sure. And let's also be honest that neither of them are cheap. Both of these are very good cameras. And you can't really go wrong with either of them. You can get great photos out of either of them. You can grow as a photographer and experiment with different photography styles with both of them. But it all depends. If you have more disposable income, the L10 might just be a lovely little purchase for you. But if it's a big blooming deal and you only get one shot at it, I think you'd be better off going for something that's more versatile, whether that's the OM-3 or a different interchangeable lens system. Personally, that's my thoughts. But I do love both of them so much. Like, so much. They're the best.